Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast, brought to you today by NordVPN. Big up to our friends at NordVPN. You know what's worse than missing a game? Not being able to watch it because you're traveling abroad. But with NordVPN, that is never ever a problem. They're giving you 4 extra months on a 2-year plan. Just head over to nordvpn.com/AFTV or click the link below. You can switch your location in an instant and get access to high quality streams wherever you are in the world. I'm telling you, with the Champions League and the Premier League, we're on the move all the time at AFTV with lots and lots of away games, and NordVPN has been an absolute lifesaver. Just hop onto one of their over 6,000 plus servers in over 100 countries and you'll be back watching Arsenal matches like you've never left home. No geo-blocking, no drama, just the game that we love. Just head over to nordvpn.com/AFTV to get started. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. Big up to our friends at NordVPN for powering this video. Joined today by Lee Judges and Julian, and of course we're all in a very good mood because Arsenal beating Manchester United by 2-0. It's funny, I was speaking to fans at the game yesterday, and a lot of them I was asking them, I was going, which game do you like winning the most? Beating Spurs or beating United? And I was really surprised. I'd say the majority of fans that I spoke to, like, you know what? Obviously, we always want to turn over Spurs, but we love beating you. We hate United. We love beating these lot, right? We know so many of their fans, right? We love giving it to them, and I've been giving it to them this morning as it is, right? It was, and you know what? It's the manner of the win as well, right? The 2 set-piece goals, right? And the fact that we had them under pressure from set pieces yesterday. And I don't know if you've seen it. So many United fans salty about Arsenal set pieces. Dimitar Berbatov was on TV, of course, ex-Spurs and Man United, a proper op, right? He was there saying, comparing Arsenal and Arsenal's tactics to Stoke City. How salty can you get? But it was a big win, especially, you know, with Liverpool dropping points last night, Lee.
Without doubt, and as I say to Berbatov now, like, you know what I mean? Did he not watch Man United's tactics? Was that not a boring tactic or whatever? Like, you know, try and diffuse it. Roy Keane, your team's got to do more, mate. It's got to do more than what he does. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be chasing Conference League, you've got to do a little bit better than what you did. Like, you know?
Chasing Conference League.
What you got to do. You've got to put it out there. You've got to be a bit better. You know what I mean? Like, have a little bit more about you. You know, come to grounds like the Emirates and open out. You know, and try and play. You know, that's what they were saying about us when we drew 2-2 at Manchester City with 10 men. You know what I mean? Like, come out and play. Well, Manchester United, Mr. Keane, did not come out and play, did they? All game. And they got done by 2 set pieces. Magic. Magic. And I do love beating Man United, but Spurs, for me, is the better one.
Really, I think for me, I'll go with the flow, is that slightly I have more pleasure in seeing Man United lose than Spurs, and I'm trying to think of the reasons why, and it's probably because Spurs have never really been competition to us, but Man United back in the day, we were always competing with them, and they had something about them, and they inflicted pain on us. And when you have pain inflicted on you, you want revenge. And since Ferguson's gone, it's been ultimate revenge because they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing. I mean, they complain about our set pieces, but I don't think they even had a corner, did they? I don't remember any.
They have one corner.
Well, I remember when Raya made that save. Yeah, they didn't jump up. They just sort of, we can't celebrate a set piece. You know what I mean? Like, so they didn't, you know. But
you know what, Lee?
That's the only thing they had.
Lee, that's the really interesting thing, right? So straight away this morning, one of my mates, a big United fan, right? He put a message in a little group we got talking about our Arsenal, Stoke City FC, and all this sort of stuff, right? Now I had to remind him, and I reminded yesterday as well when I did an interview, right, that we had 13 corners. 13. Manchester United had none. What is a great indicator in a game of football about a team attacking? How many corners you have. Because it means that, you know, a lot of times a team's having to stop you from getting the ball in or last ditch stopping you from things, so they kick it out for a corner. We had 13, they had none. Rasmus Højlund had no touches in the Arsenal box in the whole game. That's their striker. No touches and also, like you just pointed out, Lee, their best attempts, Manchester United,
two
in the game, right, which was the header that Raya saved,
and that
right?
free kick,
and the little free kick that they did with
and the one in the first half with Dallo.
It went straight,
and the one with Dallo where he hit it wide, right?
All from set pieces.
All three of those came from set pieces.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we should have scored more goals in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't.
There was a chance that Saka had. Remember when we were saying he should have went to the corner? He tried to do it with the eyes. He went to the near post. There was another set piece that
Martinelli should have scored.
Martinelli should have scored when he's through. Havertz should have scored. Partey's header. What are these men talking about? They're lucky they weren't sitting on the back of a lot of four.
Yeah, and it should have been. It should have been. I mean, one thing I've been looking forward to that we haven't got, you touched on it yesterday, was absolutely smashing Man United for how poor they actually are. We shouldn't be just beating them 2-0. It should be an absolute humiliation. I think Man United fans should come away from that game feeling happy that they weren't totally humiliated, that at half-time it was 0-0.
And the reason was because of the way they set up.
Yeah.
It's boring, isn't it?
Yeah, they actually thought to ourselves, we can't go toe-to-toe with them, so we're play the low block, try and defend it. And to be fair, they've done it well in the first half.
Yeah.
But once we got the goal, we run. They couldn't handle it. You know, their goalkeeper had a very good game, made some good saves and everything like that. He's probably their busiest player.
He's been their best player all season.
Yeah.
Because he's been making so many
There was
saves.
nothing in that Man United team other than organisation.
Yeah.
That you would turn and say, right, this is great.
But we're Stoke.
That's what
Mikel Arteta is
totally
tapping
deflecting,
Pulis,
aren't they?
right? And they created nothing.
They're totally deflecting. This is a team, by the way, that came there with one purpose, was to not lose the game of football, like 0-0 or whatever. When we do it with 10 men, when we're 2-1 up at that time at Manchester City, we get pumped for it. This is Manchester United, the biggest club in the country. Like, you know what I mean? Spent. You've got all the pundits and Man United fans, not half of them, like, you know, and they're not going to criticise that. That yesterday there was like
pathetic.
It was, you know, go toe to toe. Let's see what they do in the FA Cup. Come out and go toe to toe.
Well, they're going to have to. They're going to have to.
They're going to have to do in that.
It's all on one game.
But what they were looking for, I'll tell you what their tactic was yesterday. Let's keep it as tight as we possibly can. Arsenal have got to win this game. You know what I mean? Like, it isn't important that we win this game for our conference levels and all that. Like, you know. And they might buckle under the pressure and make a mistake, like, you know what I mean? That was their tactic yesterday, and at the end of the day, people want to have a go at us, like, you know. What I found yesterday, I don't know how you guys feel about it, was that we didn't pump a team. Some, you know, like we have done, we found a different way how to beat a football team like yesterday, and that's what I thought was really good. You ain't going to go and beat teams 3 or 4-0 in the first half. Sometimes you have to do it differently, and there was a lot of pressure on that game second half. I don't care what anybody says. We knew what had happened with Chelsea, and you knew that Liverpool. Well, when that second half started, Liverpool were winning.
Yeah.
So there was pressure on us fans. And the players come out in the second half and responded.
Yeah, they responded brilliantly. And let me just remind also some of those people criticising, you know, about Arsenal's so-called tactics, right, about Pulis, football and stuff like that, right? A few days earlier, away from home, we scored 5 against West Ham. A few days before that, away at Sporting, an unbeaten team this season, right? We scored 5 against them, away, right? And the previous home game, at home against Nottingham Forest, 3-0 clean sheet. And it's 2-0 last night. And our set pieces are brilliant. And it's you know, it is a weapon in the game of football. Dimitar Berbatov, right? He was trying to say, in Europe, a lot of those would be called fouls. What foul? Right? What foul was it? You know, there was United players holding on to Arsenal players and that. They were all clean goals, right? Set pieces are a weapon, especially, as I said, when you get so many corners, right? The consequence of a corner is that a team gets a set piece. Yeah, because you've kicked out last ditch just to save them from attacking. So the consequence of that is a team is rewarded with a corner to see what they can do from that. Now, the deliveries from the set pieces. I mean, we talk about Gabriel, we talk about all the various different players that get on the end of things, and it's brilliant and all that, and all the movement within the box and the routines and all that. But all of that is only possible if the deliveries of these set pieces are good.
100%.
And Declan Rice's and Bukayo Saka's deliveries from set pieces are unreal. Declan Rice last night, those little in-swinging corners he was doing, right? I mean, every single one of them on the money just created absolute mayhem. I mean, there was a one where Xerxes headed it and it was nearly an own goal. That was a good, they cleared it off the line. I mean, it was every time. And what made me laugh was the Arsenal fans, right? Like every time we were getting corners, they would go, ooh. Like, it was unreal. These deliveries were brilliant.
Yeah. But, I mean, people have been bigging up Nicolas Jovier, which absolutely correct, because since he's come, then the set pieces have taken a step up. But I was trying to kind of look at what are all the reasons, because normally in football there isn't just one reason for things. So Nicolas Jovier's come, he's obviously got a plan, organisation, but you've still got to credit Mikel Arteta for bringing him in, because he's worked with him before. The other part of it is the recruitment, because you think back at the Wenger years, we just weren't as successful, but it's obvious why.
You used to take every corner short.
We used to take every corner short, but the other thing was, you think about the player profile back with Arsene Wenger, they were a lot more, a lot smaller. You're not going to score as many corners having midgets on the pitch. You've got big players, so they've recruited well for that kind of position. Also, you mentioned the players. Obviously the deliveries are excellent. You have to have players in there that are capable of doing that. Now, we said we had 13 corners. We could have and should have scored more. I don't remember a bad corner. The amount of times you see teams play,
one from Saka, that was it.
Okay, so one from Saka. The amount of times you see, and I could never get my head around it, why they can't beat the first man. But there must be a reason for that. It must be more difficult than it looks. So the fact that the consistency of delivery is so good, the organisation is good, the personnel are good. But the other thing is, you need the players' buy-in as well, because they're obviously practicing those and rehearsing them and going over and over again. And to have that level of engagement and being able to concentrate and sort of have the players buy in is also crucial. So all those elements put together make us absolutely fantastic corners.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so the delivery's right. The perfect delivery kind of on those in-swinging corners is when it comes low, flat, in-swinging in at a certain pace, right? So that the hope is then you can get a player near post who can get a flick onto it, or even to defend that is really tough because it's just slightly too high to nod it away. So even you as the defender could end up, like what happened with Xerxes, you end up getting a flick onto it, and it just causes problems, and players can nick in at the back post and stuff like that and score, right? So that is what they've mastered brilliantly, right? And so those deliveries are absolutely key. If the deliveries are no good, doesn't matter who's running around in the box. It doesn't matter if Gabriel's in there. It doesn't matter if you got flipping LeBron James in there. You know what I mean? If the ball don't get to him, right, your height's not going to do anything. But you are right, Julian, that the profile of the players, there's a lot of height in there. You got Saliba in there. You know what I mean? He's a giant. You got Gabriel, a giant. You brought in Marino now. He's very, very good in the air. As a player, big guy, but very, very good in the air. You got Havertz is another giant, 6'4". You know what I mean?
You've got Rice if Saka's taking the corner. You've got so many options. It's not just a case. I know people say, "Oh, well, Gabriel's not playing, therefore we're going to struggle." But if Gabriel's not there, you've got so many other players.
Partey as well. He's another guy.
He should have scored.
He should have scored, but he's another guy with a lot of height, and it was his head back that headed it onto Saliba. They've got in. So there's a lot of height in there. But, like you said, Nicolas Jovier, I mean, this guy, what he's done, he's come in.
Listen, there's other teams with a lot of height, Robert.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember, this is where I give this Jovier guy real credit, and Arteta, I remember the first time I saw Declan Rice stepping up to take
was the questions?
I think to myself, why is Declan Rice? He's tall, man. He's a great point. He's a 6 footer. He should be in a box, man. You know what I mean? And we know Declan Rice is a physical guy. And so I'm thinking, why is Rice not in there? And then when you see this guy's deliveries now,
that's a great point.
Yeah. So that again, you know what I mean? People don't give these things enough credit. Then we would talk about Stoke and stuff like that. And by the way, Stoke back in the day, as much as we disliked them, right?
Effective.
They found a weapon. They remember they had to have that Rory Delap with those throws.
So why,
right? And I remember,
so
I always remember, right, being at a game one time against Stoke. And a lot of Arsenal fans were moaning about them, right? And I never used to like their tactics of their sort of roughhouse tactics, which I thought was way over the top. But one thing I did used to admire was those throws.
Yeah.
Was that Rory Delap? He used to have one that was a flat one that came in like an absolute rocket. And then he used to have the other one, which was like a high. And every time they got a throw in, you were worried. And, you know, I remember Arsenal players kicking the ball out, right, for a corner instead of a throw. And they realised, especially when they used to play us, exactly what you said, Julian, that we didn't have much height, we weren't very physical, and they completely exploited it.
They always scored.
Right? And we're doing it now to a lot of teams. Every team, Flex said this to me last night, Flex from United View, the Man United channel, he said to me last night that every time Arsenal got a corner, he's thinking, oh my God.
It's like a Stoke throw.
There. And that's the other thing that Arsenal have done now. They've now, the fear factor on these corners. You saw it against West Ham. You saw it against Sporting. Every time they get one of these, teams are a bit petrified. They're like, problems.
And what was great about it was, I don't know if you noticed, as soon as the first one went in, all the Man United fans are looking at, like, they're trying to play. And in the end, one of them went... There's no, I think it was a goalkeeper. What can I do about it? Like, you know, and that was that. You know, and listen, you're not gonna. Some teams, when teams play like Man United did yesterday, low block. We found it hard to break through them, like, you know, and because they're good, they was well organised. I'll give them credit for that. They was well organised. They shut off the right hand side.
To become well organised.
Well, of course it is. It's easier to coach defending and all that, but you still got to coach it. You still got to be disciplined. You still got to do it. And they found a way of stopping our right side for the first. I didn't think we was quite at it, but that's by the by. What you need to do then is find other avenues, and that's exactly what we done.
But then Mikel, after the game, he was asked on this, because I think they were trying to goad him into this Stoke thing of, you know, you just score with corners, and he made a very good point. I mean, they have scored since the beginning of last season, I think 22 goals from corners, which is phenomenal. But the point that Mikel made was, okay, we have scored a lot from corners, but we're scoring from all different ways. And you think about the goals we've seen since the international break. Okay, we've scored corners, we've scored goals in so many variety of ways.
100%.
We've got so many different attacking avenues, not just corners. And that's why, you know, the big discussion was, do we need a striker? And I say I don't think we do, because we're scoring so many goals. For me, it's very simplistic, but it's not just corners.
I will say that was the first time yesterday. You can, like, I'm a big Havertz fan, as you know, like, you know, but you want that killer in a game like that, like, you know what I mean. We got it from the corners and all that, but there was a couple of times yesterday. I didn't think he had a very good game yesterday. Probably his worst game, like, you know.
Havertz.
Yeah, he was off. He was quiet, and he just didn't.
He still did a few great things.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm going to get to. I felt he was just off of it a little bit, but there were a couple of little things, and when he done it, it was all on the side, you know, side. He'd done well, but you're thinking, oh, we need that go, you know, and then you look at Isaac, what he does in that game against do you know what I mean, like, goes round and bang. That's something I don't really see Havertz doing, and in a game like that, that's when you need it. But
that's not how they coach. They don't take too many shots from outside the area. I think he's capable of it. You saw the finishing that he had at West Ham.
Yeah, I don't see that killer side of him, like, do you know what I mean? When you go past someone,
I agree. I still think we need a striker. I still think if Arsenal had an absolute killer,
it's just something different to what.
Even yesterday, we had chances. Like, we had chances. I mean, Martinelli had a chance.
Havertz had a good chance.
Wasted. Havertz had a chance. He wasted. You know, even Saka, as I said, he had a chance. He wasted. You know what I mean? But I do think, if we had an absolute killer down the middle, he'd score a lot of goals in this team as well with the creativity. We create a lot of chances. And just going back to it, as I said, these salty United fans and salty pundits, right, they need to have a look at Arsenal. We're not just scoring goals from set pieces. And, you know, they would have thought, I think maybe a lot of the saltiness comes from the fact that Gabriel was out last night, so they're thinking, all right,
That must have hurt even more. mustn't
their
it?
main set piece guy is missing, but the other stepped up, Timber.
Yeah.
Saliba, who I thought had an absolutely brilliant game in defence. He marked Højlund out of the game. You know what I mean? Højlund tried to lay the physicality on him, didn't work. He was just bouncing off him. What a player he is, Saliba.
Like, he led yesterday, didn't he? You know, he had to be the aggressor yesterday, more so because Gabriel weren't there, and he'd done that. I thought it was the sort of game where he's gone like, Gabriel's out, I've got Kivior in there, who by the way played really, really well. But this is where I've got to just
I'm the man today.
I've got to step up. I've got to be the man. I've got to be the leader. I've got to be the one today, and. He just done it fantastically well. I just thought all of his game.
He had his hands full as well with Højlund.
He's a hard.
Yeah, I thought
player.
Højlund, even though he didn't get any touches in the box and he wasn't effective, he was a handful.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of times
He's rubbish,
where
man.
he was very physical. A couple of times in the first half, he did get the better of Saliba, but he didn't have the support.
He didn't get the Saliba.
He didn't have.
What game are you watching?
He got the better of him physically a couple of times, but the difference was United weren't able to follow up, so they didn't.
I don't know
support
what game
him.
he was watching. He didn't get the better of Saliba once.
I saw him twice in the first half. Physically get in there
in
the middle of the pitch, but he had no one around, so he couldn't do anything with it. So he lost it.
Julian, the guy didn't get into have one touch as a striker in the box. That means he never turned Saliba once and he never got away from him.
He held the ball up a couple of times.
Oh, boo-hoo, the ball comes to you.
Yeah, which is his
hits
job.
your chest.
Yeah.
You hold the ball like that.
I know what you're saying, but
he didn't have anyone around him.
That means nothing.
Because they're tactics.
No, but I think if the ball comes to you and the ball's played up to you and you holding the ball like that, you've got a defender behind you, but you don't go nowhere. You ain't really got the better of anyone.
No,
because all you've done,
he had control of the ball, but he had no one to play it to because he had no support.
All you've done, you've held the ball, but what a striker's looking to do then is lay it off. But if you can't lay it off,
he's isolated.
Turn and try and get away.
He could turn him and all that.
He couldn't turn him. He couldn't get away from him. The amount of times Saliba just then poked the ball away from him and stuff like that. He had that's why he got substituted. He did absolutely nothing in the game, right? Xerxes come in, same thing. Saliba yesterday dominated dominated everything.
It was one in the first half when there was a chase on. He just bounced off him and just took the ball away from him.
If he tried to try and go out wide, he ain't got the pace. He didn't have the pace.
You wouldn't want to play
against
Saliba because he's got physical side. He's got pace.
And he's got skill.
And he's got skill. I
Brilliant
think with Haaland, he matched him physically.
I'll tell you the other thing that I loved with Saliba yesterday. How many times did he pick the ball up and drive through? He at times was like one of our best attacking players in that first half because he's picking the ball up and saying, yeah, come on guys, let's make something happen. Because in that first half I was disappointed with our performance because I felt that like we were just kind of standing off them. We weren't really, obviously Arteta got into them out second half and said, yo, put it on them, man. And then that's when we really started to play well. And the other player that I thought Timber had a great game as well. Declan Rice yesterday was back to his absolute best. Man of the match performance they gave him on TV. I gave him man of the match in my rating. So did you, right?
Who did you give man of the match yesterday?
Yeah, to Declan Rice.
He was phenomenal yesterday.
People were saying Saliba as well. I ain't got an argument with that.
One of them two. He's one of them two.
But for me, Rice was just about, because it's an easier position to be man of the match because you can have more an effect of the game. You, as a centre half, you got to wait for them to attack you, whereas in Declan's position, he can sort of grab the game by the kind of
scruff of the neck.
It wasn't just that; it was also his set piece deliveries.
Everything was
everything. I think everything was spot on.
But then his toe's probably getting better now. It must be really difficult to play with a broken toe.
It is.
Yeah, you done it?
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah.
It's painful because when you've got your boot on and one thing it always happens, someone will stamp on it, you know what I mean, even though like you've got 9 other toes, but they always hit that one. It's funny, it's unbelievable. And it does, you get, like when you get the boot off afterwards, it's instant relief.
Yeah.
But he's, like, I thought his performance yesterday.
And he had he probably had a very intense last season. Then he went on to the Euro. Didn't really have any pre-season. Then he had the sending off. Then he's had the injury.
And then the break, I think, has done him the world of good.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is now, obviously with the way the results went yesterday, with Liverpool dropping points, the 3-3 draw, that change the complexions of things a little bit. You know what I mean? Liverpool's still in command. You know what I mean? 7 points clear. They've still got that margin for error. But it's about now just continuing to win, isn't it?
That's all we can do.
You know, like there are going to be little slip-ups like this for Liverpool throughout the season. And they've got a lot more of those sort of tough away assignments to come. We know, listen, there's no shame drawing 3-3 at Newcastle because we all know it's a very tough place to go to. But this was the point that some Arsenal fans were making where people start to say, oh, you're being deluded and this and that. That we've gone away and played a lot of these very difficult away games already and Liverpool haven't. Now, Liverpool had that tough away assignment and they've dropped points. Not because they didn't play well. 5 goals they've
conceded in the last 2 away games.
Yeah, right? And so, you know what I mean? Slip-ups can happen and 9 points could turn into... Because on the weekend, listen, I fully expect them to beat Everton.
It's at Anfield, isn't it?
No, it's at Goodison.
Last game at Goodison.
Yeah.
Fully expected them to win last year and they lost. And the thing is about Everton now, they're just like, their tails are up a bit because they beat Wolves 4-0. That was a really impressive win by them. So all of a sudden, you go to an Everton who, those Evertonians are going to be determined to stop Liverpool in their tracks. Sean Dyche will set up deep. There'll be, you know what I mean? That ain't going to be an easy game. I'm not saying they're not more than capable of winning it because they do normally beat Everton. But all of a sudden, that's a tricky little game for them. Even a draw, right? And then if the other teams in us and
it becomes 5 points.
Chelsea and City win those games, all of a sudden those points, that big lead you have starts to come down. They also still got to go. I think they got Tottenham away before the so you know that's not an easy. That's not.
Well, it is when your fans want the opposition to win. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I don't think they want the opposition to win
Why?
This early.
Why?
You think Tottenham fans will want
of course.
Well, they wanted Man City with
but that was at the end of the season. I don't think
they were actually going for Champions League football back then. And they still
had
wanted
a better chance of getting Champions League football last season than this season at this moment in time.
It'd be a tough game. That would be a tough game, no matter what we say. So
the whole half and half scarves would be sold very, very well that game.
Or it might be 3/4 quarters.
So what I'm trying to say is there's still Liverpool are in the driving seat, but there's still a long way to go as we've been
we've always said that, and people have said we're delusional and all that, like, you know. Arsenal have got to go, so I still say it now, have still got to win 10 games on the bounce, see where it takes us. So was it 3 now? 3 league games?
Well, we've had 3 league games since the international break.
Since we said that, 3 league games, so we've got another 7. We've got another 7 to do.
Well, sort of looking at it the other day, and I was thinking, like, over the last probably like 10 years, it's the teams that finish strong, innit? Like, because even us last year, we were all right up until Christmas. We were a bit shaky, man. Like, you know what I mean? We lost to Fulham when we got this weekend. We lost to West Ham. We had some little, we drew at home to Fulham. We had some really, we were a bit bitty. We were all right. But then after Christmas now, the second part of the season now, wow, what a performance. And it was the same with us, and it was the same with Man City. Man City's run sort of started from mid-December, and they just went bang. And it's kind of like, I was sort of looking back at the, seasons in the last sort of 10 years, and it's that second part of it. It's what City have done so well. That second part of the season now, where sometimes they get back certain players, like last year they got De Bruyne back, they get certain players motoring, that you see teams go on great runs. You know, maybe some of those players that were a bit injured earlier on in the season, they're back. There's a long way to go in this race.
Actually, Mikel touched on it last week when he was asked about Liverpool's lead, and he said that we had a similar experience a couple of seasons ago, in that you can be so far ahead, but very quickly in the Premier League things can change. Now, I think that particular comment was directed at Liverpool, you know, putting it into their minds that you think you've got the confidence, you're so far ahead, but the moment you start losing, it has this effect. And so much of life and football is based on confidence. And a little result like a last minute goal, and also it's a mistake, you know, that keeper, you know, he must be kicking himself today that he just didn't come out and catch that or punch that or get something on it, can have an effect. That last minute goal can have an effect the other way when you get a last minute goal, but to have those 3 points taken away from you is just fabulous for us.
And I was making a point last night that you don't always have to lose games. You can draw a lot because
they can draw the next 2 games. That's 6 points dropped.
Arsenal and Chelsea have lost 2 games all season.
Yeah.
Liverpool have lost 1 game. There's not a lot. So losses really. They've lost 1 less, but they're still 7 points ahead because they've been where we've drawn games.
Yeah.
And that's what those difficult away games can be. Those games can be the ones you draw. So you can go away to City and you end up drawing it. And actually, away to City, you get a draw. It's not always a bad draw. If you go away, you might go away to even a United and places like that. You get those can be draws, right? And that's when people are talking about and say, right, well, when you've got those really tough away games, a lot, like us at Chelsea, you're not guaranteed to win them games. You know what I mean?
Well, they've got to go to Chelsea, yeah, I know. They've still got to go to Chelsea. They've still got to go to Manchester City.
Yeah.
It's, they
have played us.
Yeah, they've played us. But they're 2 tough games which you would expect them to drop points on. You know what I mean? Like,
ain't over.
They ain't over. The thing is,
but they're in the driving seat.
Arsenal will drop points as well, but we've got to somehow get on a run where we can put pressure on them. Like, you know what I mean? It's no good us dropping points on Sunday and then like they drop points and then win a game, whatever. You've got to, like what Manchester City done to us. Do you remember when like they kept winning and winning and winning?
That's what Arteta was alluding to.
Yeah, and that's how you got to do it. But as you're right, they could easily draw against Everton, which is not a bad result because it's
like us going to Spurs and draw.
Yeah, you take a draw sometimes. You wouldn't want to lose, but
Spurs.
But you know what? It's a tough game. It's a tough game. It's a tougher game for them
than it
is for us and for everybody else because it's the local derby. Draw that game and then like all of a sudden, another 2 points dropped. Then they could go and draw at home, which can happen at any stage, and then all of a sudden like bloody hell, one more defeat and they're on us. So there is loads of things to happen and all that, Listen, from our point of view, deflation, when they got the third goal yesterday, I thought that's it. They've weathered that storm, got over it.
You keeping a tab on that game?
Yeah, like to the end, what I mean? I came in, they was 2-1 up. They was 2-1 up at half time, weren't they, Newcastle? And by the time the half time interval finished, they were 3-2 up.
Yes, see, I wasn't allowed to. Because apparently there's plenty of reasons. I mean, we always discuss the reasons why Arsenal win or they lose, but apparently there's 3 big factors that are more important than anything else. Number 1, that we sit in certain seats. This is from the boss. Because if we
don't do that when he's on the plane.
So apparently if we sit in not our usual seats, then Arsenal will lose.
Right.
And there was 2 and there was something else that's in. I'm not allowed to check the other score. Not allowed to check the other scores because that means Liverpool will win. And the third thing, which was a new thing yesterday, very, very crucial, is it's getting a bit cold. So I put my hat on. No, you've got to take your hat off because you've had your hat off for the whole game.
I'm all about energy here. You know what I mean, Lee, right?
I had to sit there cold.
So me, right? I always sit next to that. Every time I sit next to that guy, right? So we got 2 seats there. You know what I mean? So he would come and sometimes want to sit in the seat that I'll say, sit where you sit. Like, let's keep the normal order of things. Because when we keep that normal order, we don't lose.
I get that.
And I remember one time,
same entrance.
Remember one time he changed up the seating, right? And we lost that game.
My fault.
Right? Yeah. And then now, right? You know what I mean? He's always checking. I remember we went to that American football thing. Right? And he was there checking his phone. That was when City was playing. City were playing Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right? And he's going, hey, come on, look, they're winning. Wolves I said, listen.
They scored in the last minute.
I said,
my fault.
I don't want to see it, man. I go, tell me at the end when it's done. I don't want to.
I understand.
He's still there. And then he goes, look, it's only about 15 seconds to go. And he passed off. He had his phone because he was watching it live, right? And I've been refusing to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to watch this thing, man, because I know what will happen, right? And he goes, look, 15 seconds left.
You're a curse,
right? And then I looked on it. They got a corner and they scored with the last kick of the game. I nearly picked his phone up and threw it on the pitch.
I'll tell you what,
right?
But the hat thing's a new one.
The hat thing now, right? We've all been sitting there, been watching the game, yeah? He ain't had a hat on. We're winning 2-0, right? Then there's about 15 minutes ago, he puts his bloody hat on. Now you're going to mess up the energy again.
I understand that.
You understand it, Lee, innit?
I do understand
man.
it. But he is a curse. He is a curse. I'll tell you what, the Man City story is like one of them. Like we're getting loads, we're getting pelters. Like we're 1-0 down,
right next to them,
right next to them. Like so, we ends up.
They're fans.
Yeah,
so we've moved.
So we end up 2-1, and we're giving it to them, like, yeah. And then we get someone sent off, right? Trossard gets sent off. So Julian goes, should we just quietly move just away from him, like, and because we the chances are we're going to get done here and they're going to give it to us. So it's a good idea. So we've gone. So there's 20 seconds to go. What does Julian say? I'm going back to where I was. I'll give him some stick like that. She's gone down.
See, I told you, man.
Is that true? Unbelievable.
And then they scored. He does this all the time. So when he had that phone out last night and he kept going, yeah, it's still free. I go, listen, if you show me that phone again, I'm throwing it on the pitch. I don't want to know. Man. I said to him, I remember I said to him, I go, let's just concentrate on this, man. Let's win, because even that means nothing. 3-3 means absolutely nothing. We don't win this. It means nothing. By the way, Chelsea.
Yeah.
We're talking, they're above us.
That was the unbelievable thing yesterday.
They're in
it. Great day for us. We ended up dropping a place.
Yeah. And they're in it. They keep denying it.
Oh, they're in it.
They're all
denying. They know it like.
Yeah, and they should be in it. With the squad that they've got, money they've spent.
Disgrace that they think that they're not.
And I said, like, when the international break, after the international break, I said, Arsenal definitely got some winnable games ahead of us. But you actually look at Chelsea.
They have winnable.
They had an easy run from now up.
They're going to 3-point lane on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which they call it. That's what they nickname it. And then after that, they have got teams all in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah. And they're a good side.
They are good.
They're a good side.
And they're a young side, and they've been together. They've not just been thrown together. He's, some of those players have been there 2-3 seasons. They've started to gel.
You actually... You know what, for this title race, right? And City, of course, won last night as well. So remember, they're only just 2 points back off of us as well.
Yeah, right them off at your peril.
You actually want kind of quite a few teams involved in this race rather than just two, because then it makes it... I think it makes it harder for one team to just fly away. Like that
100%
puts
agree.
more pressure on Liverpool, because still got to play Chelsea, still got to play City again, play us again. You kind of want that, even though it's harder for us as well. But I don't know what you guys feel.
No, I do. I think that last season and the season before, there's only two teams in it. So when
last season it was 3, wasn't there?
Yeah, but when Man City, you want Man City at that. You wanted him to go to a Chelsea and find it hard. You wanted him to go to a Liverpool and come to us. They was just winning games a little bit too easy last season, like. And I think that the likes of Aston Villa, like Newcastle, for instance, yesterday, put on a fantastic performance. What I see of it, they're capable. You don't want them going like, oh, well, they're going to Newcastle, that's a guaranteed win, or they're going here like it's a guaranteed win. You go even to Bournemouth, like, they've taken us and they've taken Manchester City as well, like, So, and Newcastle, by the way, of all the ups and downs of it, they've played Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal. They've drawn 2 of them and beaten us. They've not beat, so that's
difficult place to go.
Difficult place to go. That's what you want in the Premier League. Like, every away game. We said it yesterday. I think Sunday's a tougher game than yesterday because it's away from home.
I was going to ask you about that now. That's the next one. Fulham away, right? It's all about continuing to win. We did not win there last year, right? As a matter of fact, we didn't deserve to win that game last year.
It's the worst performance.
They played well, and they've been playing well this season. They're a bit of a weird team because they did lose their last home game previous to that against Wolves. We were right down near the bottom. Got 4 put past them that day. But good side. And a few Arsenal old boys in there. Smith Rowe, of course, has gone down. He's been doing really, really well. Alex Iwobi's been having a good season as well. Of course, Reece Nelson, he can't play in the game because he's there on loan, so he won't be able to play. But they've got good players. Wilson, Adama Traore, they're a good side Fulham this season.
Good side, got a good keeper, and Leno, another one.
Yeah, Leno, another ex-Arsenal player.
So they're doing well. Listen, I don't really watch Fulham too much, but I did watch them against Spurs.
I've watched a few of their games. Yeah, they've been good.
I watched them when that Wilson got the 2 goals right at the end.
Oh
and
yeah,
all that,
yeah.
That was
against Brentford.
Brentford,
Yeah.
I did watch that game.
Deserved to win that game
they
as well.
Did deserve to win that game.
Really,
It was a game where
that was a
you're
great
thinking,
game.
how are they not winning this game?
Yeah.
They was missing chance after chance, and then they got 2 in the last couple of minutes. Thoroughly deserved that win. And I actually watched them against Spurs, and I thought that they were the better side. I thought
They were.
They should have won that game.
Outplayed Tottenham.
And it was one of those games where you think like they should have been 3-0 up. Really should have been 3-0 up, and Spurs score, and you think, oh, that's it. But I thought that they showed a real lot about them to come back, score the goal, then get the player sent off, and then dig in and make sure they got.
He was sent off in the 83rd minute. So
but they still got to dig in for 10, 15
they did have to
minutes.
dig in. I think you look at their position, they're 12th. And you think mid-table team, actually below mid-table. But if you actually look at the stats behind it and have watched some of their games, you'll realise that the reason why they're so low down in the table is because of their lack of efficiency in front of goal. Now, a great example of that was actually the game they got stuffed against Wolves.
Yeah.
Jimenez, did you see
Oh,
that?
he hit the bar, didn't he?
It was worse than Ronnie Rosenthal.
Yeah,
It was
I don't know.
it was. It was from, at least Ronnie Rosenthal was outside the area. This was it was in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
I don't know how he missed that. If it had been a defender, that would have been one of the greatest clearances you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And speaking to a Fulham fan this morning, is efficiency in front of the goal is their major issue. Defensively, their fullbacks are really good.
Yes.
The centre backs aren't bad, but the fullbacks very, very strong. That Robinson, Saka's going to have a really tough time.
He gets forward and all.
Gets forward. Both fullbacks, Tete, as you said, the keeper's decent. They've got players, even though.
I think going on Robinson though, I think he's a player you can get at. He's really, really good going forward. Right, but I think
I would say he's one of the strongest left backs in the league.
Going forward.
No, defensively as well.
He's all right. Going forward, very, very strong, like lots of energy, gets up and down the pitch. But you can get... I think that's one of the areas that Arsenal have to try and exploit.
I think centre-halves maybe a weaker. I'd say Robinson is one of the strongest players they've got.
He's a good player, but I wouldn't say he's a solid player. As I said, his super strength is getting forwards, joining in the attack. I think he's really, really good at that. But I think, actually defensively, that is an area I feel Saka, it is going to be those wide areas where I think Arsenal can exploit. But we're going to have to be good because they are a very good side.
They are. I mean, going forward, all right, they're not going to have Reece Nelson, who's been really good for them. But you can bring in Traore. And Traore is a player I've never really understood. When I've seen him play, I don't think I've seen a better winger at times. That he's been absolutely unplayable, but he doesn't seem to ever get into teams consistently, does he?
It's the end product, though.
Yeah, that's why.
That's what lets that guy down, right? Is that... you see him running with the ball. Aesthetically, he looks absolutely unbelievable.
Can't stop the guy till in front of goal.
I mean, he's
rolls himself up as well.
He's not. He's not a good finisher.
Like him.
He's not a great finisher.
No, he's just got that.
His delivery. This is what makes Saka so good because Saka. It's the efficiency of this guy. It's like he'll get an assist. He'll get goals. You know what I mean? Adama Traore doesn't, and that's what his problem is. Like you'll see him aesthetically run through in a game, go on a couple of great runs, but then at the end of the game you're like, but what came of it?
Yeah,
it'd be interesting for them because they've also got the suspension now, and they've got
two suspensions.
And Nelson's out as well.
Yeah, so Nelson's out, but you can always have Wilson come in. You can have Traore come in, but on the right side, Iwobi's probably been their best player.
He's been excellent for
this season. They're a great team if they can start putting the book. Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like Arteta. He's had, when you look at him, his managerial career, he's been a bit of a journeyman manager, but he's been at Fulham since 2021. So he's had time to embed. And I just think that once you get, I touched on it yesterday, sort of a long-term relationship, is you have so much more stability.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game.
I think it's a tough game.
We need to revert. I thought last year that game was like you said. Who said it was?
Yeah,
you said it,
worst game,
performance of the season. I think I agree with you. We were so abject and flat, and we scored first. Remember, we were 1-0 up. I remember watching the players that they're going, "What's up? These guys were they out last night?"
It was the
energy. There was no energy. There was nothing.
the first time that probably the only game last season I felt let down by the players.
Yeah,
We didn't have any defence. I mean, I always look when I do my interviews after the game to kind of come up with mitigation, so reasons why we've lost that weren't really our fault. Refereeing decisions, it was close, but that one I really struggled to come up with a reason why, other than we were crap.
Completely
outplayed. We just not.
Kivior played left back that day. I think.
Yeah, didn't he get hauled off at half time?
I don't know.
Do you think we'll make changes for this game? I mean, games are coming thick and fast. We then have another game next week, Wednesday, in the Champions League against Monaco. Do you see any changes?
I think it
depends on the injury situation.
Yeah, I think you might. Obviously, Trossard.
Do you think you might rotate though, just with the
I think he'll bring Trossard in.
Yeah, he could bring Jesus in.
Would you make any changes? Would you rotate for that game?
I think I'll bring Trossard in, and again, it's all to do with. Look, Kivior played well yesterday. But his ceiling isn't as high as he's a good player playing to his abilities. But Gabriel is an excellent player.
Yeah, if Gabriel's fit,
and you play him, and then you've got the issue with Zinchenko. I thought Zinchenko did well, but again, is Calafiore better left back? I'm not sure Calafiore's best position's left back.
Lets himself down, Zinchenko, with that. Why does he just want that extra touch? And then
he did slow it down though, didn't he?
I think my problem with he did have that.
I thought he was doing all right up until then.
He was doing all right, and then he made that mistake. And to be fair, when he pulled a player back to stop.
If they score from that, he would have got slated.
And also, you've got to sometimes be aware of the player you're up. That guy's their best player. I just felt But the only thing I find with Zinchenko sometimes when he's playing, right, he slows things down too much. That's what I like with Calafiore. He's a little bit more dynamic. He gets the ball, pop, boom, going on a run. I mean, the pace was. I felt sometimes in that first half, it was too slow, and Zinchenko was on the ball a lot, and his passing was still all good, and that, but it was just too slow. So. I don't know.
Just decision making at times with him, right?
Yeah.
You're 1-0 up. That you don't give him that sort of thing. Just clear your lines. Maybe he's being told to do it and all that, but then if that goes in, everybody's going, what I mean. And I really wanted him to play. He was doing all right.
He was still okay.
And what I thought Arteta done really well. He thought, I've got to get him off.
Yeah, did the right thing.
Put Timber over there, and I thought Partey done very, very well in that position as well. But realistically, you don't want to be taking him off. You want to say you're good enough and all that. But because of the booking, I suppose it was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But I just think at times he's all the criticism with him, and I think a lot of unfair criticism, and there's people get on him, and a few people, and a couple of my mates were saying it yesterday, mentioning no names. He's always got one mistake in him in a game. He's got that mistake in him. That's what he does, and all that.
You don't have a faultless performance.
But those are big mistakes. Like yesterday, that could have cost us. So I
don't see Timber having that mistake.
He didn't. You know what it is with that mistake?
He
did not need to.
We're talking about.
Calafiore's just arrived, though, isn't he? So you get a little bit more grace.
He's played football before.
Yeah, but he's just arrived at Arsenal. He's just arrived in the Premier League. He's going to get a little bit more grace than Zinchenko, who's been there playing in this league for a long time.
He's going to get more grace.
And knows that if you're up against a player like Ahmad, you don't mess around with the ball. And I just felt that we're 2-0 up.
Yeah, 1-0 up at the time.
Yeah, you don't need to mess around there.
And that's the thing, I know you say players that, but he's got that mistake in him, and it's infuriating. I can see why. But I'm a big fan of you. I know you're a big fan of it. And when people like were going yesterday, which is really bad. I'd rather have so and so playing and him not playing Kivior at left back and playing Declan Rice in centre half. And who would think of something like that? I don't know. You know what I mean? So
I thought it was a good idea.
There was somebody.
But a lot of people were thinking. Yeah. But a lot of people, you're doing it for a different reason. A lot of people are doing that because they don't want Zinchenko in the sideline. I'm like, come on, do the business, play. Yeah. And I felt that he was.
He let himself down with
that. He let himself down when he
could have had a good game. As I said, I still don't like the way he slows things down. If Calafiore's fit, he's back in for me for this game.
Do you think they will be? I don't think they will be.
I don't know what the injuries are.
Not according to the doctor.
Well,
I don't know.
I did have a word with the doctor on the way home, and he thought from studying things and no particular inside knowledge that Calafiore would be back. On Sunday,
but not Gabriel.
He was a little bit more concerned with Gabriel.
Would you rotate anything, or would you bring Jesus in?
You could do it. Like,
The Monaco game's also, to me, no, the strongest
I think
team
you've got
for
to
that
keep
game.
going. I honestly think Odegaard.
He could have done with the rest.
Yeah, and I don't mean this
here we go,
because
yeah.
when you come back into it, when you come back after a long injury, those first 2 or 3 games,
You're on adrenaline,
You're on
aren't you?
adrenaline high, and I felt yesterday his levels.
Not in the second half, though. Second half, he was good. First half, he weren't great, but the second half,
I
he
thought
played
he was
well.
better himself. I didn't think he was at that level of. Listen, his level has been fantastic. He's just come down a little bit.
Well, you're saying leave him up?
No,
No chance.
No,
man.
you can't because you've got no direct replacement.
no, I just think like just
Odegaard plays. Saka
but
plays.
I think there's going to
Wanna
be a
rest
little bit
Saka?
of a low in him now. Like,
Thinking of resting Saka for that game, are you?
no,
It's difficult. Because
no,
at some
just say
point,
no.
he's
You heard what the
he's
doctor said to you
brilliant.
yesterday. You see, that, he's starting to change his tune on a bit of things after speaking to the doctor.
he agrees with me on
what?
On
Saka? No, he
players,
didn't agree with
on
you.
players in general. We talked about the reasons why players get injured, and in his view, there was 2 main reasons, which I agreed with. So he must be right. So the first one, actually, which was interesting, was the style that teams play in. If you play sort of more defensively, let teams come onto you, it's less intense to be able to play that. So if you've got a team that's always pressing,
more chance of getting
you got more chance of getting injuries. And the second one is a very simple equation: is the more game time you play, the more intensity you're playing at, the more chance you got of getting injured.
I spoke to the doctor yesterday, and he was saying at this stage of the season, it's so early. He goes, if players are fit, these guys are super athletes. And he goes, they can play these games.
That's what
he said. So your thing about rest, right?
He wants to have a thing.
The doctor, by the way, we keep saying the doctor. This doctor is actually a doctor
of a certain
he was a
football
doctor
club.
in a Premier League football club, right? And he's still a doctor at this football club. They're in the Championship now. And he said, as I just said, that these guys, super fit athletes, as long as they're not, completely wrecked, play them.
I'll tell you what he did say, which is very, very interesting, is that the manager will go up to him and say, I've got 3 games coming up. How many can he do?
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, well, there's certain players you can say, right,
exactly,
he can do 2.
Yeah,
So,
and he goes, there's other players that are super fit athletes, they can play all.
So the manager then goes, right, okay, so he can do 2 on the spin, or he can do 2 out of the 3. And then it's up to the manager then to choose what one he leaves out. So it's very interesting that
but he also said the players have you can't just force a player to play. So players, I mean, someone like Ozil, he'd have a chipped toenail and not playing, just pick up my wages.
He's got his Ozil agenda again.
Yeah, no. But in saying that, and most players want to play. You know what I mean? Let's get that out there.
Let's get your predictions for the game, for that Fulham game.
Oh,
Julian.
It'll be close. I'm going to go for 2-1 to Arsenal.
2-0.
I'm going 2-0 as well. I'll go 2-0 as well. I think Arsenal, they're going to know what happened last year. They're going to know this is a massive game, and a game that they have to win. And I think away from home, we've been looking good so far since the international break. We'll find out. Make sure you check out our AFTV. We'll be doing a big watch along to it. We'll be at the game as well, interviewing fans. So make sure you check it out. We've come to the end of the show today. I want to thank NordVPN once again, excuse me, for sponsoring the show. Don't forget, click the link in the description and you can get that special offer that they've got going on right now. So thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Thank you, Julian. Thank you to Lee. And it's Fulham at the weekend. Hopefully, Everton will do a little favour. Come on, you Blues.